Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got full Rocky Marciano out there.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Oh, this hard goddamn work being this good.
One more again, see what I take on your front set, I swear.
You ain't my daddy, are you?
There's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
What time is it? Game time.
Okay, welcome again to the Don't Be Blasé podcast. We're coming to you live from the House of Pain, otherwise known as Snap Fitness in Adelaide CBD. I'm your host, B. Caruana, joined as always by the heavy-breathing Steve Burrows.
Heavy breathing? Is that just now? Or is that a...
No, you just ruined my intro. I could just hear a lot of, you walked up 4 stairs and now it's really getting the best of you. Before we get started, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Larry and Lad. Go see the boys at Regent Arcade, get yourself an awesome coffee and listen to some pretty sweet tunes. But for now, on with the show. Now, Steve.
Yes.
Have you walked through some sort of storm to get
Dude,
here?
it is hot outside and it's windy.
Yeah.
And I'm unfit. What do you want, man?
This is the classic Adelaide summer moment. As we speak, we've had a 38-degree day yesterday. Today is 38, which in Fahrenheit for any American listeners, 2,000. I don't know.
It's a lot.
I don't know how you guys do fucking numbers for temperature, but it's hot. And it's the classic Adelaide thing of last week it was cold and rainy. Everyone goes, it's bullshit, summer. And then this week it's 38 degrees and everyone's like, it's too fucking hot.
Yeah, that's right. There was no warming us up.
No.
It was just
going in dry.
38. That's right.
Literally hot and dry.
Exactly. Didn't buy us a drink beforehand.
Oh.
Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
You took it to a weird place.
Okay.
Yeah. So what have you got to bring to our attention today, Steve?
All right. Today, what's funny is, and don't mention where I work, but I felt like I'm wagging work at the moment.
Oh, you're playing hooky.
I had a...
We'll say that we actually recorded and released it on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I actually had a phone call from my boss over here, and I actually didn't answer it.
Yeah?
So
don't you have listeners that you work with?
I don't know.
Don't they all hate me?
One of them does. One of them particularly does. But,
right.
yeah.
Well, I hate you too.
Yes. So, so I might be unemployed next week. So I might have a lot more time to do these podcasts.
You and Greg can go hang out together.
Yeah, that's right. Haven't heard from Greg in a while.
No?
No.
Well, hopefully we get something soon.
Yeah, something. Anyway, I wouldn't mind hearing from his wife one day. I think we've said that once or twice before, but wouldn't mind hearing from her sooner or later. But anyway, segue, feeling like I've been hit by some bricks. That was dreadful.
Stephen Burrows.
Did you
leave the segue work to me? You can just throw your catchphrase out.
Did you see that wrestling video the other day?
From Mexico.
In Mexico.
Yes, I did.
Lucha Libre Boom, or whatever the fuck it was called, with that wrestler who... By the way, I don't know who he is, and you might know who he is.
No, I have no idea who he is.
Certainly didn't deserve to look like he should be in the ring.
Yeah.
Takes it to the next level. You know, they got this hardcore stuff, and that's fine. I'm not a big fan of it, but I understand its role in the game today. But he literally picked up
a cinder block,
which would weigh 20 kilo, I guess.
Oh, they're not that heavy, but they do weigh. I mean, they do weigh a legit 5-6 kilos.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of big construction houses when I was a labourer,
right? And
in bricky and stuff like that. You do a lot of work with cinder blocks and stuff, and you can pick them up one-handed. They're awkward, but they're heavy, but they're not obscenely heavy.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we'll go with 5-6 kilos. But he fucking threw it.
Yeah.
At a dude who wasn't even expecting, or he may have been expecting it, but he didn't expect it in the back of his skull.
Out of the ring too, and the ring is 3 foot high, plus the guy standing there, maybe
above his shoulders,
above his head, so it's like a good 9 feet off the ground.
And he didn't lob it.
No, he didn't just drop it. Yeah.
He fucking pegged it at that dude, and apparently that guy, he was out. He's done. He had eventually had brain surgery. He had a fucking
skull fracture,
a clot.
Yeah.
And apparently there's this wrestler, and I use that term loosely because he looks like just a slob in a ring with, a sleeveless t-shirt and some denim shorts.
So much like us in the early 2000s.
You know what? This is something I pride myself on. I never wore anything like I wore tights the first match I ever wrestled.
Just as a segue, Steve, what else did you wear under tights?
He's got a G-string!
So Stephen wore a G-string because he thought that would, don't want panty lines.
No, exactly.
So Steve wore a G-string under his tights his first wrestling match, and what happened to your pants? They kind of fell down a bit.
They did. The tights didn't. They didn't stay up above my backside.
And so, which is surprising because Steve has a sizable backside, which is it's handy for wrestling. But yeah, he was exposed in some sort of. I'm hoping it was a man G-string. You never know. I don't know if they were selling them back then. Maybe raided Jonah's cupboard or whatever. But Steve's first match is known as he's got a G-string.
That's funny. Thanks for bringing that up. A bit of a backstory. I saw Hulk Hogan wear a G-string once. So I thought, well, if it's good enough for Hulk, it's good enough for Blas.
Yeah? You're putting yourself on that scale.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Just the Hulk Hogan scale of bad choices, horrible haircuts, and throwing around the N-word.
Exactly. And the thing is, what's funny is that he had a tan backside. Yeah. My butt couldn't be any wider. And the thing is, like, his G-string was probably a little bit thinner. I don't know, nice thing. More like a jockstrap kind of thick fucking thing.
I think we've got enough into male.
There's a big T halfway up my back.
Anyway, so guy with a brick through another wrestler.
And he did, and he fucked this dude up. And it really kind of irked me a bit because I think this is where wrestling is. Not all wrestling, but it's kind of where it goes. It's pushing the envelope. Yeah. It's
I'm legitimately waiting for someone to pull out a gun.
Why not?
Yeah, and I know I think it's been done on as a comedy thing on like a local indie show, whatever, sometime. But it's getting to the stage now. Like the thing, and I get on the boys, and a lot of the boys that sort of wrestle and friends of mine, that sort of stuff. There's just their big thing at the moment is everyone does like all these like knee to the head and kick to the head, but then they just they don't sell it. They just get straight back up and fire back, which really annoys me because it's just like people know this is not real, but you can make it look real and you can make it. They buy into the story of it. But if you just keep hitting each other in the head and no one goes down, well then you're really losing the magic of it. You know what I mean? Like it starts to become just a choreographed dance, which I've always sort of fought against. So I do get a bit about it. Immediately, by the same token, I start to sound like the old guys that taught us how to wrestle because they're just like, oh, why are you guys doing that much? That could be a finish back in the day. It's like, I understand how everything evolves. Just sometimes I think, obviously, throwing bricks at people and legitimately hurting people, that's going a bit too far. Yeah. But I just worry about the guys these days because they're doing all these flips and doing all these bumps and landing on their head and this and that. I look at Hulk Hogan. He's physically knackered, and he never really did much. I, myself, didn't do heaps, I took a few bumps when I was younger, and I've taken a few bad chair shots and that sort of stuff, and I'm feeling it, I'm only 35 and I'm feeling it. I worry about these other guys, because they're taking ridiculous bumps, and more regularly than I did too, and, I'm worried about when it sounds bad, but when you get to my age, are these guys going to be able to walk at the end, be physically able, That's the issue we deal with.
That's right. And you certainly know my views on that. This whole, pushing it to... I saw a couple of videos, highlight videos of another wrestling company that gets around, and they show off these high finishes and stuff like that, and... don't get me wrong, I'm impressed with the athleticism of it, but it really kind of drives me away from the wrestling thing because it gets to a point that first of all, it's just unrealistic. Yeah. It's ridiculous how they set the move up, how they get in the move, and then how they deliver the move. Yeah. Especially because they probably kicked out of something 2 seconds earlier, just like it, and it really kills it for, and I'll say Spee here, who doesn't have to do that stuff. If someone kicks someone in the head, and the guy kicks out at 2, and then Speed does just a clothesline. It kind of takes away from his clothesline. It kind of takes away from the whole show because it's just this upmanship. But anyway, Speed, I've got a segue.
Here we go.
Speaking of which I actually did enjoy. Yes. But just some of it is and I get it's a movie, but I watched Creed 2.
Yes.
I watched
Creed 2. We can discuss this now because we've both seen it.
Yes.
Give me your thoughts.
Okay, well,
because I've got a couple of real strong takes.
I want to get quickly to my segue part.
Yeah.
The strike rate of those boxes is off the charts.
Oh, yeah. Always has been.
Now, Anderson Silva, right, who's probably one of the best fucking mixed martial artists ever, his strike rate has nothing on these guys. Yeah. And these are crucial, max blows.
But you're forgetting
man.
Rocky 3, where it was nothing but like roundhouses to the face for like
That's
5
right.
minutes.
And he's like,
And
hit
it still
me.
goes down as one of everyone's favourite films, but he
Yeah.
literally takes about 6 roundhouses in a row to the face.
They were all knockout punches, these
Oh, yeah.
things. All of them. And then they just keep getting back.
They have gotten a little bit better with the boxing choreography in those movies, especially like Rocky Balboa
Yeah.
and the first Creed, was a bit better with as far as selling the whole, actually showing some blocks and
Yeah.
things, more of this and that, and that's why they sort of speed up, make them fight a montage. But yeah, this one did go back to the old school, a bit of, let's just throw some real heavy punches here.
Yeah.
What did you think overall?
Well, I actually really enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
I felt it had a bit more of a Rocky feel than Creed 1 did.
Because Stallone wrote this one.
He did. And
Ryan
he did a screenplay.
Coogler wrote and directed the last one, who's the
Right.
guy that did Black Panther.
Yep.
And this one was another director, and Stallone wrote it.
Yeah.
Which is the reason
Well,
why
I think Stallone's always written them. Or didn't he not write Creed the
he didn't write
first
Creed 1.
Right,
No.
right.
But he was obviously involved, producer and stuff like that. Probably would have had
Yeah.
a bit of say so, but he didn't write it.
Right.
So the first one was brilliant. This one's great, but it's very much like, it's very, and admittedly, like I said, I sound soft, but I'm a very emotional person. And I'm so attached to these characters. Like, I will get into an argument with anybody. Rocky Balboa is my favorite, I think is the best, but my favorite character in film history.
Yeah.
And like, I really get like that whole thing, the whole family, this and that. I'm emotionally attached to the Rocky Balboa character.
Yes.
And now that he's gotten to that age now, he just does that, oh shucks, fucking sort of gimmick. Like, he walks in the room and he's standing there waiting outside for the baby. And he's got the hat in the hand, and like, you're just like, oh man.
Sad, man.
And it does tug at that, and that's that real Stallone sap. Like, he's really good at landing in thick.
Shit,
Like,
he is.
everything's cheesy or really sappy, but that gets me, Like,
Yeah.
because I love these characters so much. Like, I'm invested in it. It's like like when your mum used to watch like Young and the Restless or Bold and Beautiful, and you're like, why do you care about it? It's so shit. It's like, yeah, but I've invested so much time in it. It becomes part of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what it's become for me, because it's not like I get to see it every day or every week as a normal TV show.
Yeah.
It's like every couple of years I get my fill of the story. And then at the end, we're going to do spoilers. Fuck
We're going to
yeah.
do spoilers?
We're going to do spoilers.
Well, turn it down for a few seconds if you don't want to hear a spoiler.
If you don't want to hear spoilers, but just, this isn't like a huge, this is for going forward with the films. The whole, looks at him, you're on your own now, kid. And then they do that golden shot behind Stallone, adjust the hat, because apparently he's not doing the movies anymore. So if they do go forward with the Creed series, he's out. So, and that does hurt me a little bit, because I love the character.
Let's bring out another Rocky film then.
Yeah, I know. He's such a strong character. But I do love Michael B. Jordan. I think he was great in it.
Yeah.
And this is one of the sort of things I want to bring in as far as characters goes. I mean, he's the hero in this one, but I'm talking about film bad guys. I mean, this is going to be a real bad segue. We haven't planned for this. But film bad guys have gotten a lot better these days. So just from the top, I was just thinking about it. The last sort of 3 films I may have seen at the cinema I got excited about were Black Panther, the Avengers movie, and Creed 2. Now, the bad guys in these, obviously, the Young Drago, Thanos, and Killmonger. All bad guys, all, in the story, but all had a good point. They had a good reason, but it wasn't just like the old days where it's just he's a bad guy because he's a prick and he wants to be a bad guy. Yeah. These guys have, with the Avengers, Thanos is the bad guy because he wants to snap his fingers and cut the universe in half because he sees people struggling, so he figures if he wipes out half of existence, because there's not enough, the whole thing is there's not enough supply for everybody, you know what I mean? So if we can get rid of, half the people, then the other half, everyone can just live without struggling. And you're like,
okay,
all right, the way you're going about it, not great, but you understand the point, you can see it from both sides,
reasoning, yeah.
And this one here, you see Drago's, obviously Ivan Drago, which Dolph Lundgren's still got some guns on him.
Yep.
He wants to rebuild his own reputation through his son.
Yep.
And the cameo by Bridget Nielsen. Oh, we popped huge for that.
Yeah. I didn't see that coming.
No,
and
then yeah, in fact, that's one thing I do love about those films. They actually bring back all the original actors too. Yeah. It's not like, it's like, it's Rocky now played by Steve. Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Everyone's still the original actor, which is good. But the son, he's just like, well, he doesn't want no part of the mother. He realizes he's a pawn in this game from his dad, and he's just been trained that way. He doesn't hate, Creed. He doesn't hate, that's just the way he's been raised. It's just this fucking...
It's just a product of
and he starts to realise it. And so you start to feel bad for him because it's just like he's been thrown out there. And so it's just like, well, he's not really a bad guy. It's everyone around him. It's just like, that's a good character, And same with like Killmonger in Black Panther, like who's Michael B. Jordan. His whole premise is, if Wakanda's so good with their vibranium and stuff, why do black people struggle? Like we have proven that we can, like within the film, Wakanda's like the greatest place on earth and they're the smartest people and stuff like that. He goes, then why are people struggling?
Yeah.
I want us to rise above. And you're just kind of like, got a point.
Yeah.
What
do you think of the end? The nice little touch at the end of the fight. I guess it goes bit of a full circle thing when he's...
I like the way
a bit of a spoiler.
I do. I'm not going to say what happens at the end of the fight.
Yeah.
We'll save that spoiler.
Yeah.
But I do like what they did with that one. Because like Creed 2, I'll spoil that one if you haven't seen it. You do need to go see it. But I love the fact that they did the Rocky 1 ending with Creed 1.
Yep.
Where it wasn't so much did he win the fight. It's but he proved he belonged and he went the distance. Because that's so many people like, Rocky 1, like, why do you love it so much? He doesn't even win at the end. It's like, that's not the point of the film.
Yeah,
the point of the film is this is the average guy. If you give him enough motivation, he can prove that he's a somebody, not a nobody, And that was the whole point with Creed 1. It's just, like, and I just love that, like, this is me looking way too much into these movies because I love them so much. But the irony of having Michael B. Jordan play a character who is trying to create his own legacy above his name because he doesn't want to use the Creed name because he wants to prove that he's his own person. He's Donnie Johnson in the first one, before he becomes Donnie Creed. It's the fact that the character is played by Michael B. Jordan, who had to put his initial in there because his fucking name is Michael Jordan, and everybody knows Mick is pretty synonymous with those names. Like it's like a musician coming out going, "Oh, what's your name? Oh, yeah, Michael Jackson. Yeah, you might want to put an initial in there, champ, because it's like that double level. I mean, it wasn't the reason why they cast him, but I just loved that double meaning to it. Like it's about creating your own name as your own man, on top of all these expectations. So I just love that.
Yep, that's going way deeper than I thought we were going to go.
I'm passionate about these films, mate.
I did enjoy it. There was some sentimental scenes in there. Kid scenes always get me.
Yeah, a lot of heartstrings.
A lot of
heartstrings.
Kids stream.
The baby.
The baby.
The issue with the baby. Yeah. Oh, mate, that one. Yeah, that one was getting me too. Like even
that's Sly. He would rip that. He
we're sitting there watching it, and like we went to that Lux Cinema down at TDP. Like my mate, old fat gut shouted us some tickets, and like he was sitting there with our man Shags, number one listener, and I was sitting with Satan. And she's looking over at me, like a bit like I said, I made fun of her, like we went to go see A Star Is Born, because she was crying through a lot of that, and I cried at the end, but that was about it. This movie, every time she looks over at me, but she's like, again? Like, just every 10 minutes I was like tearing up in that movie. No. It was killing me. It was absolutely killing me, I'm just a sucker for the Stallone fucking schmaltz.
Oh, yeah.
He gets me every time.
He's got good arcs.
He's got a bag of tricks. They're cheap, and I know they're coming, but they still get me every time.
Especially in those Rocky films, Every Rocky film, I think, has a moment.
Yeah, and I was a couple of beers in, too.
Oh, okay.
So that, sometimes you get a bit teary, a couple of beers in, like, put your arm around you. Oh, I love you, mate. I was in that level of drunk. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, out of 10?
I'm going to give it a 9 because I like it. The one thing that did get me, I didn't get as emotional during the fight scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always, during those fight scenes, during those movies, there's always that moment where he's like, there's that bit where they get up and stuff like that, and the music's a huge part of that. I didn't feel the music overpowered the fight scene, but it needs to.
Yeah.
Because usually the music overpowers the fight scene, and the visual to go with the music is what gets me.
Yes.
And I felt like there was too much about like the noise of what was happening in the fight,
yeah,
not so much the music taking over, because usually it's those strings or whatever they have.
Yeah.
It's always one of those songs, and that's what gets me. But I didn't feel the fight as much. That's why it doesn't get a 10.
Yeah.
But I did really, really love it.
Yeah, I didn't like the fight.
Yep.
I
like the finish.
Yeah, I love the finish.
Fight.
I love the finale, the bit, but there's like anything, like I feel like that. I mean, it's just the age we're in. It has to be action packed.
I have a high standard for the fights for the Rocky films. Yeah, that's the reason why 5 is rubbish.
No, 5 up until a certain point is
that's why I didn't really like the fight in 3 is pretty rubbish.
Yeah,
but 2's okay.
Yeah.
The fight in 1 gives me goosebumps still every time I see it.
Yeah.
The fight in Balboa gives me goosebumps. The fight in 4 was good because it was just so fucking,
You know.
And the fight in Creed 1 gives me goosebumps.
Yeah,
And so those, between 1, Creed 1 and Balboa, those are the primo fights.
So that's the thing. The fight just kind of lost me a little bit because there was so much, landing all these punches. It was so like these are, so I was a bit like, I really enjoyed the story. I did. So I'm going to give it,
On
at
a
least
Blasi
a B
scale.
plus,
out of 10? Out of 10, you give it a B plus?
Somewhere between 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Definitely 8 and 9. It's not my favourite, under the whole Rocky umbrella, but it's up there. Yeah,
I think we'll have to actually have a poll. We'll run that through.
Okay.
And get everyone to do you get on the Facebook page, we'll put up a post.
Yep.
But run us down, give us your order.
Yeah, definitely.
Worst to first.
Yep.
With the Rocky films, and we're including obviously both Creed films.
Yep.
You guys give us a rundown of what your best is.
So there's 8 films.
Yep.
All up. 8
to choose from.
Yep.
And give us 1 through 8. I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot of 5s last.
I'd say Rocky 5 will be last.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Admittedly, that movie is actually pretty good.
I do
until
like it.
the fight.
Yeah, exactly. And the promoter's a bit he's a bit over the top.
Real over the top character,
but otherwise.
Well, speaking of which, we're going to throw in one of your little.
Segue.
We're going to jump past that topic and go to a show I went and saw last night.
Okay.
I went and saw Jim Jeffries. So we're talking about
I knew he was in Adelaide.
shows that don't finish well. Jim Jeffries is starting a new tour. Now, I've become a huge fan of stand-up comedy over the last few years, and a lot of it stems from listening to lovely podcasts like this one. Probably not as good as this one.
No,
but other ones, and just some of the backyarders, they give it a try, and they have I think thousands of listeners. You don't want thousands, you want tens.
You want exclusive.
Yeah, we have a real niche market, and we love our listener.
Yeah, we do, and
the other tens of listeners that we have, and we appreciate that you guys give us the time, but. I love listening to them tell the stories of how they sculpt their set. You know what I mean? Like, I've said it before about that Bert Kreischer, the guy that does the fat guy, always does his stand-up with his shirt off, tells that story about being an exchange student in Russia, and his nickname was The Machine. And stuff
I don't know this.
But it's a real story about how he lived in Russia and, like, as an exchange student, because he was, like, a party animal at school. He's at school at college for, like, 8 years or something. But he did an exchange to Russia and inadvertently joined the Russian mob and robbed a train full of other students.
Amazing.
Yeah, and he just explains like this whole story, and it's brilliant. But I listened to him talk about it, how that's like his seminal bit. But that took him 4 years to craft the story, because he'd tell the story to his friend, and like you get to tell it in a way that can keep an audience hooked. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference between like having a mate that spins a good yarn, but he's not necessarily going to be a great stand-up comedian, because you've got to hook the crowd.
Yep.
Now, Jim's doing a new tour. So he's starting, Adelaide was the first night of the tour. So he's got this new material. And for 45 minutes to 50 minutes, he had people hooked. You know, and like with normal comedians, you go off here, come back. Go off here, come back. He has this one story. Like he had a bit to sort of start off with, and then a second bit. They're about 5-minute bits. And then he had a good chunk story, like a good 30, 35, 40-minute story. And he kept going off and coming back to it, going off, coming back to it, and it worked. Then past that, he had a few drinks on stage. And then he actually admits, he goes, I've forgot the next bit. Like, after he'd finished that story, and obviously his new closing bit, because it's the first time he's toured with this bit. So he starts ad-libbing on stage, and then loses the crowd. And so most people around was like, he's still pretty funny, because he was like sort of riffing, and still pretty funny, and he went back to some classic spots and stuff like that, and did that. But you could tell that he'd lost the crowd, like as a performer. Because we got home and like Andy, I went with Andy again, Andy and Shags, and Andy's just like, "Oh no, it's not his fault. It's the people that were heckling." I'm like, "No. That's you not understanding performers." And so I was just a little bit disappointed that I went to a show, and then after, like for the last 20 minutes, I was sitting there going, "Can we go home now?"
Yeah,
because I realised this wasn't going to get any better. He has forgotten his material, and he's now padding it out. And yeah, it was funny. There were still moments where I laughed, but I was a little bit disappointed because I'm like, I want to hear that last bit.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want to hear this because I'm about the performance. So do you do that yourself? Like when you go see performances, are you watching the performance?
I felt like that when I was watching the Tupac film. I remember watching Tupac, like, geez, this is bad, and I want to get the hell out. And did they turn the aircon off? I'm really hot. Yeah, I remember that. Can I just say, Jim Jeffries, I thought when he first come out, when he first, sort of like hit the big time, I thought this guy's good. But I watched a couple of his specials, and for me, he's on the decline for me.
He's got a lot of reliance on using the C-bomb.
Yeah,
throws that out there a lot.
Yeah, I get it.
And he has a certain style of and he plays to a certain type of crowd.
Yeah.
And like, let's say some of them may live near you, like in Paulsville.
Right.
He does cater to a very sort of lowbrow sort of like crowd. And I'm not going to fucking judge. I'm in the crowd there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does rely a lot on that. It's a lot of sort of aggressive sort of joke telling.
Yeah.
A lot of it was like, and literally a lot of it's aimed at himself.
Yeah.
So you can forgive a lot. But that's the market he goes for, and that's the sort of stories he tells and the jokes he tells, and that's the people he's going to attract. And you've got to know your market,
Oh, no doubt. Look, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that when I first heard him, I was like, hey, this guy's good.
Yeah.
So I invested a little bit of time in following up on some of his stuff. And then as I listened, and I watched the American one, which is quite obviously, he talks a bit about, he got really famous with the gun law stuff.
Law,
he really,
that was really well crafted, that one.
That was great. So, everyone ears picked up, and it was very topical. I mean, gun law should always be topical in America, but it came after another mass shooting, and and everyone was like, it was good. And then I started watching the specials, and I just got bored with it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, it's funny, and like you said, he is still funny throughout the show, but I lose interest in it. I'm like, I knew he was coming to town. I just had no interest.
I find that with comedians though, like we hold what's the name in so much reverence, like Eddie Murphy,
of course,
because he only did 2 specials.
Yeah,
and so that's all you've got to go by.
Of
like
course.
if Jim had just done the 3 specials that he's sort of famous for, you'd be like, oh, this guy's one of the greatest of all time, but it's that whole...
It's like Tupac, it's like
it's
Big
the old
Ears,
story of you die the hero,
That's
live
right.
long, become the villain. It's... And it's not that he's become the villain, and like it was the same way when I went and saw Kevin Hart.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Kevin Hart, and then like... And that's the biggest issue I get with myself. Like I was talking about it last night with my man Shags. Ignorance truly is bliss. It's like that. If you can see dumb people fucking stupid happy, like because they don't think about anything. They just believe what they're told. Oh, this guy's great. Watch him. He's funny. Okay, that's the guy. He's the best. What if he declines? Nope. Someone told me he's the best, so he's the best. And they'll believe that forever. It's sort of like you thinking Michael Jordan's the best basketball player. You've been told that for so long, you actually believe it. And I don't understand why. And
the difference is, Speed, I've witnessed
you've also witnessed more productive play from a LeBron James. But anyway, that's just another story for another time.
Speed. Let
me get back to my story. Let me get back to my point.
Let me just run this in, Speed. I've said it before. Facebook memories is a beautiful thing, Speed. And I want to know at what point, and I know we've gone off there, but at what point did you stop becoming a LeBron hater and becoming, he's now the GOAT of all time? There must be a specific moment in time, because a few years ago, I was bigging up LeBron, and you were, much like we are today, we're always arguing that nothing changed, but you were hating on LeBron.
I hated on LeBron because of the Michael Jordan thing.
Right.
Because, remember, because I was a Magic guy.
Yes.
And I was like you. I actually watched the games.
Right.
I was a Knicks fan.
Yep.
Because I hated Jordan.
Right.
Because it was one of those people, like I said, this also ties back into the ignorance is bliss thing.
Yeah.
People just went, oh, Michael Jordan's the best. Why do you say that? Oh, because, they saw the ads. They never actually watched the game.
Of course.
But you can't argue with them. Oh, no, I love Michael Jordan. This and that. It's like, you don't even know what you're fucking talking about. So if someone can't match that's why I love arguing with you, because you can match my passion for things.
Right.
But I don't argue with fucking retards, because it's just like, and I don't like people that just accept popular opinion as a thing. That's one reason why I hated Jordan. So when LeBron came out, everyone was like, oh, fucking that LeBron James kid's real good. I'm like, you've never seen him play. And so I just automatically, whenever someone gets pushed down my throat as he's the best and people don't even know, I automatically go and put the wall up, and I'm just like naturally like, nah, prove it to me.
But there was a moment. Something happened. When
he
was
proved it to me when he won the title.
The 16 finals?
No, the second one, when he won the second title, when they beat the Spurs in Game 7.
Miami.
Yeah. Miami. Second title. After that, I was just like, nah, fuck, I'm not fighting anymore. I'm all in on this guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, because it's the same thing. Like I even sent out a tweet before the Ray Allen shot to tie the series up. I said, is he now going to go down as the Wilt Chamberlain of this generation? Statistically great, never wins championship.
Yeah.
And that's what I genuinely thought he was going to be. And then after that, I was like, nah, this guy's won me over. And that's when I became the LeBron guy. So like I said, I don't jump on board early. You know what I mean? You have to win me over.
Yeah.
And once you win me over, I'll fucking fight for you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll die on that hill. But like I said, like just the people accepting things as gospel because they just get told it.
Of
you know?
course,
So it's like when I saw Kevin Hart as a performer, I was just like, yeah, I love Kevin Hart because I'd seen him and I'd seen the work and I saw the development.
Yeah.
And then I also, as a performer myself, saw that he went, oh, he's just fucking coasting on the same spot.
Yeah,
you know, and like every story was very similar to the specials I'd seen before because I don't just watch it and laugh and go, that was great. Like everyone's like, your recall of stand-up spots, like you said, you surprised that Rain Man remembers everything.
Yeah.
If something entertains me or makes me laugh, I'll fucking remember it. You know, because it's just because I love to repeat it and this and that.
Sure.
And I want to do it justice, you know. Like, I always refer to don't want to do the Eddie Murphy, and then he said "Goony Goo Goo," you know, and just butcher someone's joke.
Yeah.
If I'm going to tell it, I'm going to tell a story well, and that's one of my favourite things is just getting around friends and telling good stories. Hence why I love doing this.
Yes, definitely.
So that's the reason why I take so much pride in. So I've always hated the people that just jump on bandwagons.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why like I'm really disappointed because I love Jim.
Yeah.
And I love the performance. And I spoke to a couple other people that were there. Oh, great show. He was really hilarious. Great show. I'm like, really? Like, it started really, really good. But because it didn't, and we're of that theory of your main event's going to be your most important thing. If I leave with a sour taste, then I'm starting to think, even though the greatness in the first half was good, I didn't really enjoy it at the end.
It actually makes me judge people when they say something like that. They're like, "That's a great show." I was like, really? What else do you think is great? It makes me change my whole opinion on the people like that. I don't see much stand-up. Last time I saw stand-up was Hannah Pace.
Yep.
Many years ago.
Jesus, that's...
Yeah, I know. I think it was my
that's
name
a real one.
A few years ago, but I haven't booked in to see... do you know Michael McIntyre?
Yes.
The English guy.
Yes, he's very clever.
He's very funny, and I've actually stopped watching any of his shit.
Yep.
I've unliked his page because I want to go in there as fresh as possible.
Well,
I'm so excited.
That's why there was a guy that came just the last bit on the comedians. John Hastings came out last year for the Fringe. Now, I got a friend that works with the Fringe and helps promote comedians, so I get a lot of free tickets and stuff because I'm in the city and she'll just be like, look, I need to fill out a crowd tonight at 8 o'clock. Can you get there? It's like 7:30. I'm like, shit, yeah, no worries. So I'll just like ride the scooter in, takes 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I get free ticket to a comedy show. And I saw this guy's, he did his own show, like our show. All right, cool. It was very funny. And then got free tickets to another night. It was like Best of the Ed Fest where they had like 3 comedians and John Hastings was the headliner. I'm thinking, fuck, I'm going to get the same jokes that I heard here. Completely different set.
Cool.
So the guys now become aware, especially like with YouTube and that sort of stuff, they tend to have to write new material all the time, which is very tough, which is the reason why, you know, the good comedians are the good comedians and the ones that aren't. You know, and same reason why, once again, go back to that Kevin Hart show. Anyone pulled their phone out during the show, they were actually kicked out of the crowd. Like, there was literally security guards walking up and down the aisles the entire show. So if anyone pulled their phone out during the show to record it, put it on YouTube, whoop, you're out. Because once that stuff gets leaked, then who's going to buy it? You know? So that's what it's sort of a lot of the comedians get famous off of YouTube, but then once your stuff's out there, you've got to keep coming up with new material. And if you're not one of those people that has that sort of ability, then you're going to be sinking pretty quickly.
Can I do another segue?
Well, new material, I think, is what you want to get into.
Well, something funny is something that you tagged me in on Facebook today.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's very funny. I'm assuming we're talking about the same thing.
I was going to go with the other one there.
Oh, okay. I cannot read, so maybe you should join the segue.
Well, this is always going to go. This is going to go a segue into maybe one of your new segment on the show.
Okay.
Steve's movie reviews.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ!
I can honestly not read that.
Yeah, this is the greatest thing in the world. We try not to do much pre-show discussions. Now we don't edit. We don't cut things out. So the thing is, we do a little bit of pre-show. We try to discuss what we might talk about the show, and Steve always comes with a good idea. Right. And they always go, yes, that's a great idea. When I try to throw the said idea, Steve gives me the blankest fucking look, like, what do you want to talk about? Motherfucker, you came up with the idea.
It's not that. It's just that you were pointing at something, and I assumed you were talking about what we're going to finish on, but we've changed everything up.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is totally not what I was going to talk about. So
this is going to be the finish.
I'm reversing the segue.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sophia, my little girl, she gets on the Netflix and watches
The Beautiful Gorgeous.
The Beautiful Gorgeous. Sophia Mania. She watched a new film called Sing. I don't think it's that new. It's a couple of years old, but anyway, basically it's a animated film with all animals instead of, for the characters.
So the standard sort of Disney fare.
Exactly. And it's basically about a koala bear who is in the showbiz.
Yep.
And he's got his own little theatre he's had for years, and it's struggling.
Yep.
So he comes up with an idea to do a singing competition.
Yep.
And long story short, he gets the whole town comes and they want to get on this show. What was cool about this film, though, Speed, what I loved about it is the soundtrack.
Yep.
The soundtrack was really cool. And what I particularly liked about the soundtrack is the old songs. And when I mean old songs, I mean, even before I was born. And it got me thinking, I don't know who the musical director is in this film, or whoever the fuck chooses the songs, but there were some songs on there like Elton John's Still Standing, by a group called Spencer Davis Group. There's an old English band which is a great fucking song. Frank Sinatra song was on there. And I started thinking, all right, there's going to come a time when those songs stop getting played on these films because the people who then fulfill those roles on the film as a music director or whoever that person is, they're not going to know the songs. We know them because we're at that age where mum and dad still play those 60s stuff. But eventually, we're going to be playing to our kids, I don't know, who's cool these days?
I don't know.
Someone
I don't listen to the radio.
All right, okay, I don't know. And I'm thinking, and then that made me think. So there's one part of it. There's one part is that eventually we're not going to hear these cool songs no more. We're not going to hear Whiter Shade of Pale, because people simply not going to know it. It's just going to fall into the history of music. The second part of it is, I think of music today. I'm thinking, are any of the songs today gonna be that same kind of have that same kind of reverence in 30 to 40 years' time? So when Sophia is maybe our age, or not 30, 40 years' time, but you know what I'm saying, like when she plays with her kids or her kids play today, are they going to be, oh, that Taylor Swift, man, that's amazing? Or is it just going to, basically, the music going to stand the test of time? Today's music going to stand the test of time because Rolling Stones do, John Lennon do, Beatles do.
But the same token, I understand what you're saying. And music from that era came from, you only got one source of music, and that was the radio. And everyone was listening to the same thing. So things were, if they were popular, they were super fucking popular, because you didn't have many alternatives. You bought records and that sort of stuff, or you just listened to the radio. Now, then obviously your CDs and that sort of stuff came in, and that, still radio was a huge medium there. People had to go to the radio to get new music, but then you could then buy music that you saw. Now everything's just streamed, so you can get what you want, when you want, and how you want to listen to it. So, yeah, there's the stuff that's super duper popular, like Stones, that sort of stuff. It's still going to be there. So the music that you said, like you said, there was that "Give Me Some Lovin'."
Yes, "Give Me Some Lovin'." Yeah,
everyone. That song's been in about 50 movies.
It is.
The difference is, you said, will it stand the test of time because these kids know it? Well, Sophia grows up in 30 years' time and she's the music director for a movie. She's going to go, I remember watching that movie as a kid, and that song, and that's how that gets new life again. Like, putting them in kids' films, that's how songs get new life.
Yeah.
And that's how it moves from generation to generation. They still play, admittedly, most of us probably wouldn't have known who Beethoven was had we not thought of the dog first. Let's be honest. People from our age would remember Beethoven as being a dog. Yeah. But you start, someone says Beethoven, no, it's a dog. No, he used to be a composer, blah, 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 and that's how it gets new life again.
Yeah.
And that's how, it is up to families to sort of, to continue music on, Like I said, when I have kids and stuff like that, or my nephew, old Neff Curry, he gets older and be like, play some Tupac. This was the shit when I was a kid. That's the sort of stuff, it does get passed on for generation to generation. But one of the things now is, samples. So many songs are samples or essentially almost covers of old songs. And that's how they get new life again now. So there's always going to be songs that are going to, it may not be the original version, but there's going to be the influence there, and it's up to real sort of music heads. You would really enjoy your music and the story behind music, and I do too. And there's going to be people like that, the kind of people that are going to be directors of music on movies are going to be the same sort of people.
Yeah, they're going to be music historians almost.
Yeah,
basically.
And so, like I said, the amount of times I get in arguments with, who's this? And Satan's like, oh, I don't know. She was before my time. I don't give a shit. It's before my time too. This song came out in the 60s. How old do you think I am? But if you have a passion for it, you'll always go back and find it. That's one reason why I love Kanye so much, is because there's a CD that I used to have, and I need to find it. Apparently there's a stream for it, there's a playlist for it somewhere. but it's a playlist of the songs that he sampled over the years for his songs.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like, you listen to all these old songs and you're just like, oh, fuck, that's the bit that he pinched there.
Yeah.
You know, and like, probably one of his most famous songs is The Good Life.
Yep.
That's actually a sample of PYT, like Pretty Young Thing by Michael Jackson. And you would never pick it. But he used to play it at his show. He'd play PYT and then he slows down the bit that he then pinched and then flows next into The Good Life. And you're like, I never knew that, you know, and that made me start listening to PYT again. And then you start to hear that starts to get played around a bit more because, like I said, if they sample it, it gives it new life again. So there's always going to be music historians. Now, as far as who these days is going to be, I said, I don't know. You know? Like, I mean, there is your Taylor Swifts, your Lady Gagas and stuff like that. Beyonce,
no doubt,
is going to have
Beyonce.
some songs that, you know, from 40 years from now, everyone's still going to be listening to some classic Beyonce stuff. Maybe not 7-Eleven. That song was made in about 20 minutes. But there's going to be some songs. And there are going to be artists, you know what I mean? Like, I know because you're old man Steve and wrestling hasn't been good since 1998 and Bone Thugs were the greatest band of all, like, rap group of all time. And you don't like to take, you say, I was bad with taking LeBron on late. You will put up a wall to everything, Steve.
But I never come around, though. That's the difference between I'm never coming around.
I will allow myself to get one over. You are fucking get off my lawn. Seriously, get off my lawn because I'm trying to grow the motherfucker.
Yeah.
So that's the big difference, Steve. But I think it will. There will be some artists that will stand the test of time. Lady Gaga from that movie and stuff like that. That movie was, like, she's that good in that movie that, like I said, even myself and, like, Jared that works here, Jared's been putting on Lady Gaga songs.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, because, like I said, it gave you a new appreciation of her abilities.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going to carry forward. You know?
Yeah.
So there's going to be people like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be songs like I said, I played you the old song that Bruno Mars ripped off, Uptown Funk, and that sort of stuff is going to keep going through. So there will be songs from, you know, from modern day.
Now, how close? I can't read the screen. Are we wrapping up soon?
We're wrapping up.
All right, I just want a quick shout out to my boy Rocco.
Yeah?
He's
across the road?
Across the road.
The king
of the
lawn.
street.
Yeah.
That's right, of the lawn.
Is there performance enhancing drugs on the lawn? Is this what you're going to get?
No, I'm just shouting out because he's a new listener.
Oh, is he?
So, yes.
He knew his lawn was getting some tip-top service.
Yeah. So I had a bit of a chat to him about it. Yeah. And it was funny, last night I got home and from work, and him and his wife and his two kids, they were laying on the lawn.
Of course they were.
Just
rubbing it in your face. And is your family over happy there in the dirt? Burrows? Huh? Oh, your daughter's allergic to the grass this year. Yeah, I would be allergic to that grass too. Fucking crabgrass motherfucker.
She goes, oh, do you want to come and sit on our lawn? Almost patronising me.
Yeah.
And I said,
is that actually the new cuckold? Like, if your wife was over there sitting on the grass, you'd be like, oh, you hussy. How could you do this to me?
I was thinking, no, I could lay on my lawn and get my back scratched if I want. So you can have your lush lawn. I've got a nice back scratcher over here.
Yeah.
So, up and down, and it sort of takes out pimples and fucking, it doesn't like take off 2 layers of skin. It's beautiful. So
you had glass in your lawn.
You can have your green piece of shit. I like this kind of,
Well, shout out to Rocco. Glad you're listening. I think it's moving us up to 11 listeners now. So we actually are in the 10s.
We've probably lost a few over the time.
Yeah, but, I'm glad. I'm glad that we've got new listeners and people are, like, banding together. And this just makes you need to lift your game, Steve.
It does.
This is a segue back to Creed and the Rocky films. You're down, but you're not out, Steve. All right? We need to hit that music. You need to get those strings going. Some sort of composer going to play something, and you're going to flash memories through your head, and Cole telling you you're no good, and you need to get up, you need to mow that lawn, and get a fucking real mower, and put some of that, weed killer, that sort of stuff in there. Look, I don't have grass. I live in an apartment, so I don't know this shit. You get those edges, Steve.
That's a good pep talk, man.
Yeah, you fire that up. The sun's coming, Steve. And you've got the Santa Ana. You've got a summer lawn. You can do this, Steve. Your lawn will reclaim the throne. Rocco, sorry, I just praised you, but you know what? You're going down. Your lawn shit. And it's going to be taken over. Admittedly, Steve's probably going to sabotage it, but it's going down. He's going to throw some of his grass clippings on your lawn. It's going to infect it. But we're going to do it, Steve. We need to see some backyard photos. We know your front yard's not your strong one.
No.
We need some backyard photos. We still need a photo of Rocco, so you still just too jealous to put it up.
I actually asked him if it was okay. I said, don't call the police if you see me taking photos of your house. But he loves it. He appreciates it.
I want Rocco to send us a photo. You can send it to the Don't Be Blasé podcast on Facebook because I want to get like the real truth. Like you'll filter it, like put like a bad filter on
CPO over it, so it's all brown and shit.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like zoom in on one patch with like a little daffodil growing out or something.
Yeah.
So we need to have Grass Wars 2018.
Yeah.
Alright, so we need to do it. That's gonna be us for this week, guys. Next week we have our special Christmas episode, but for this week it's Speaker I want to say goodbye. For Steve Burrows,
see you later.
We'll speak to you next week. Peace.
LaMelo.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.